I personally think that solo travel sounds romantic until you actually imagine doing it. Eating alone, getting lost alone, taking trains alone, making decisions alone, and maybe the scariest part, wondering if people are judging you for being all by yourself. Before I begin comfortable traveling alone, I completely understood that fear. Because when you travel with friends, there's always somebody to rely on, someone to check directions with, someone to eat with, someone to laugh with when things go wrong. But when you are all alone, everything feels like it's on you, and that can feel intimidating. But after traveling around Japan alone so many times, I realized something. Solo travel doesn't have to feel lonely or stressful. In the right environment, it can actually feel peaceful, freeing, and surprisingly comfortable. And for me, Japan is one of the easiest places to experience this. I think Japan changes the feeling of solo travel because so many small things reduce stress. The trains are reliable, the streets are walkable, convenience stores are everywhere, restaurants are used to solo customers, signs are usually clear, and everyday life feels organized enough that you don't constantly feel lost. Of course, Japan is not perfect. You can still get confused. You can still make mistakes. You can still have awkward moments. But overall, Japan makes solo travel feel very manageable, and that matters a lot. Because when you are all alone, every small inconvenience feels bigger. But when the environment helps you, instead of fighting against you, you start to relax. You stop worrying so much about being alone, and you start enjoying the freedom of moving through a country at your own pace. One of the biggest fears that people have about solo travel is eating alone. I completely understand why. In many countries, eating alone can sometimes feel awkward. You look around and see groups of friends, couples, and families, and it's easy to feel like you stand out. But Japan feels completely different. Walk into almost any ramen shop, soba restaurant, cafe, or even a family restaurant, and you see plenty of people sitting by themselves. Office workers grabbing a quick lunch, students having dinner after school, someone reading a book while enjoying a coffee, someone quietly eating before heading home. Nobody thinks it's strange. Nobody looks at you. You are simply another customer enjoying a meal. After a while, I realized something. Eating alone in Japan doesn't feel lonely. It feels peaceful. And once that mental barrier disappears, solo travel becomes much more enjoyable. This was probably the biggest surprise for me. Before my first solo trip, I kept thinking, will people think it's weird that I'm all by myself? But the reality is, nobody really cares. Everyone is busy living their own lives. They are going to work, meeting friends, shopping, catching their train, just like you. Whether you are walking through Shibuya, exploring Akihabara, sitting in a cafe, or browsing through a bookstore, nobody is paying attention to the fact that you are traveling alone. And strangely enough, I found that very liberating. It gave me the confidence to do whatever that I wanted without worrying about what other people would think of me. And I think this is one of the most underrated parts of traveling alone in Japan. One more reason why Japan feels so comfortable for solo travel is the general sense of safety. Of course, no country is completely crime free. You should still use common sense, look after your belongings, and stay aware of your surroundings. But compared to many other places which I have traveled to before, Japan gives me a strong sense of reassurance. I've walked around late at night, taken the last train home, explored quiet neighborhoods, and while I still stay careful, I've rarely felt anxious. That feeling of safety changes the way you travel. Instead of constantly thinking, what if something goes wrong? You start thinking, where shall I explore next? And I think that's a huge reason why so many people end up falling in love with solo travel in Japan. Last week, I actually made an entire video about Japanese trains, so I won't go into too much detail here. But I genuinely believe that Japan's transport system is one of the biggest reasons solo travel feels so easy. Once you understand the basics, trains become very reliable. Google Maps tells you exactly which platform to go to. Suica or Pasmo lets you tap in and out without buying tickets each time. And before long, you stop thinking, can I get there? And start thinking, where should I go to today? That's a really powerful feeling because it gives you confidence. Confidence to explore a new neighborhood, confidence to take a day trip, confidence to change your plans halfway through the day. And when you are traveling alone, that freedom is priceless. The transport system doesn't just help you to get around Japan, it quietly gives you the confidence to explore more than you originally planned. One thing I didn't fully appreciate before coming to Japan was just how useful convenience stores are. They are everywhere, and when you are traveling alone, they are almost like a safety net. Feeling hungry at 11 pm? Convenience store. Need a quick breakfast before catching the train? Convenience store. Forgot your toothbrush? Convenience store. Need an umbrella because it started raining heavily suddenly? Convenience store. They are not just places to buy snacks. They make traveling feel less stressful. Because no matter what happens during your day, you know there's probably a convenience store just a few minutes away. It's one of those small things that you don't really notice until you realize how much easier it makes traveling by yourself. But for me, the best part of solo travel isn't the trains, or the convenience stores, or even the safety. It's the freedom. You wake up whenever you want. You eat whatever you feel like eating. If you choose to visit another neighborhood suddenly, you just go. If you spend 2 hours browsing through a bookstore, nobody is waiting for you. If you discover a quiet cafe and feel like staying there all afternoon, you can. There's something incredibly peaceful about having an entire day that belongs only to you. No compromises, no rushing, just following your own curiosity. And I think that's when solo travel becomes more than just traveling. It becomes a chance to spend time with yourself. When I think back on my trips to Japan, it's usually not the biggest attractions that I remember the most. It's the quiet moments. Walking through a peaceful neighborhood in the evening, sitting in a cafe while planning the next day's adventure, browsing through a bookstore for much longer than I probably should, wandering around supermarkets just to see what's different, taking a train with no particular rush to get to anywhere, spending an afternoon at the betting center, cooking dinner in my apartment after a long day of exploring, or simply sitting down to journal about everything that I've experienced throughout the day. None of these moments are particularly spectacular, but together, they became some of my happiest memories. I think slow travel teaches you to appreciate ordinary moments in a completely different way. If you have always wanted to try traveling alone, I honestly think Japan is one of the best places to start. You don't have to be fearless. You don't have to speak perfect Japanese. You don't have to have everything planned perfectly. Just start simple. Stay near a major train station. Use Google Maps. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't overpack your itinerary. Leave room to wander. Some of my favorite memories happened because I had no plan at all. And remember, feeling nervous before your first solo trip is completely normal. Almost everyone feels this way. But once you arrive, I think you'll be surprised by how quickly that feeling begins to disappear. Before I traveled alone in Japan, I thought that solo travel meant being all by yourself. But after spending so much time here, I realized that's not what it means at all. Solo travel isn't about being isolated, it's about having the freedom to experience a place at your own pace, to notice the small things that you might otherwise miss, to follow your curiosity wherever it leads, to become comfortable with your own company. Japan didn't make me love solo travel, because everything was perfect. It made me love solo travel because being alone here felt completely natural. If you have been thinking about taking your first solo trip, I genuinely hope that you will consider Japan. It might just change the way you think about traveling, just like how it changed mine. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.